last minute, and let alone last minute coming off a long layoff. Like, she's been off a long time. So for her to risk it against Kayla Harrison, to me, is already a pretty big risk, and I'm happy that she's doing that. But then for her to try and just do it against a random person last minute is a really bad idea. So I'm glad that the UFC aren't trying to push that, and I'm glad Nunes is just saying no to that altogether.
Yeah, yeah, no, completely would have made no sense if she had still stayed on this card. But yeah, as I said, we get that one gets saved for another time, and as I said, it was disappointing. That actually, to be fair, that I think I mentioned this too. That fight actually happened soon. I did not expect that to be coming up
Yeah,
on the first
same.
fight card of the year. But as I said, that'll get pushed back to another time, and I don't think it hurts this card too much. This card is still an absolute banger. And speaking of which, we're getting back-to-back pay-per-views, which I had no idea about until about 2 days ago. So I think that's even more interesting as well. And that's
It
another
really
thing.
is.
As I said, UFC are just obviously it's a Paramount deal. They're trying to go off. They're trying to start off with a bang. But as I said, by middle of next week, 324 will be
Uh,
almost be forgotten because
Isn't that crazy?
325 is right here. Yeah.
Have
So
we
that's
ever
where the
had
UFC just roll on as a machine.
Have we ever had a back-to-back weekend pay-per-view? Like I know we've had 2 weeks, I believe, but like a week is insane. And I honestly, I wonder why they're doing that. Maybe it's has something to do with like
It's a
pumping
Paramount
numbers,
deal for
quarter,
sure.
like they
Yeah.
want the Q1 or something to be really big, so they're
Yeah.
doing two pay-per-views, or it's just interesting.
Yeah. No, I think it has to be something to do with trying to get as many fans locked into Paramount in the first, a quarter of the year as possible. So and then they want to sort of set a standard for entertainment, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if to answer your question, I don't know. I couldn't think of a time we've only had back-to-back pay-per-views. As you said, I think there's been a couple of times where it's been, a fortnight apart, but not week to week. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want
What
to.
what are your Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and what sucks for us like Zach and I were talking about this before, like international viewers, we're
Oh,
not covered under international rights at Paramount. So what we got to fork out $70 back-to-back weeks. That's not happening for the average Australian. I'm not sure about Canadians and all that. Like this is where it sucks a little bit because people are going to have to be torn. International viewers are going to have to be torn as to which one they choose. It's not in many people's budgets to be spending $140 over 7 days for entertainment. So
no, absolutely
yeah,
insane. And I was really sad when I heard about this. One of the back crew members, you talk with him all the time, Damian. You actually had him on your channel. Little Chriso hit me up and was like, "Hey, just to bring this to your attention." And I read a couple articles about it, and I was like, "Dude, I thought Paramount Plus was going to be a broad blanket. You get it." You get it everywhere in the entire world, and I thought that was so cool and so awesome because I believe it's like that for like Netflix and like other platforms. If I'm thinking correctly, where once you purchase, you get pretty much the whole catalog. And now there are some
yeah,
changes geographically, but
yeah,
that sucks, man. And there's really no point, in my opinion. There's no point to even purchase Paramount Plus if you're not getting the pay-per-views included in that. It is not much of a difference. From what we had with ESPN Plus, which was not a good experience and didn't really make much sense. So that guts me to hear that Canada, as well as you guys down under in Australia, and maybe potentially the UK, you were saying off air, like, dude, that's terrible. It doesn't make sense. I hate it. It's the barrier to entry is still going to be there for so many people around the world. Um, and I don't even know if this is a Paramount Plus or a UFC issue. It could be like a broadcasting issue with whoever is actually showing it. Maybe the license isn't quite lapsed yet. So maybe I'm being hopeful and thinking that maybe in a year or two things would change, but I don't know, man.
yeah. As I said, people who aren't following along what we're talking about, it's the licensing rights internationally for the UFC, which the UFC signed a multi-year. Once again, multi-year is not specific, but that's the term that gets used for even trading card rights. But yeah, multi-year deal with Foxtel, KO Sports in 2023. So we've had 2, 3 years of that now. This will be the 2026, maybe the third or fourth year, multi-year. I would be hopeful that the end of this year, obviously those rights are going to be up for contract and then Paramount is going to snap them up. But yeah, for people who aren't already aware, you can get Paramount Plus here in Australia and you will get the prelims, you will get obviously, I'm assuming you're going to be getting the catalogue of fights, which makes it interesting as to how often they update them. If
Yeah.
you're a Paramount Plus subscriber and you wait 2 weeks, are you going to get the pay-per-view that was
Right.
shared? So maybe you just got to wait 2 weeks. I don't know.
Hopefully it's faster.
Um,
Maybe it's only a day or two. That'd be ideal, I think. Is if like the next day it's up and then everybody can watch it. But that's pretty quick turnaround.
yeah, but yeah, no. Basically, so if you're getting Paramount Plus, you're not getting the main card of these. Well, they're no longer pay-per-views in America, but they're still considered pay-per-views for international viewers like us in Australia, and as you said, Canada, and potentially even UK, probably New Zealand as well. So yeah, we have to pay then a lump sum, just like you would with a main event, just like you would with a pay-per-view. I believe it's $60 here in Australia, $70 in Australia per pay-per-view, just to watch the main fights, which, as you said, we were doing years before. We've been doing for decades now, and we were all hoping was going to disappear with this Paramount deal, but not yet. As I said, the UFC international uh, broadcasting rights are separate, I guess, from what you have in the United States. There's different deals that happens, but hopefully in the next year we get some updates, and us international viewers can be watching it on a Paramount Plus subscription instead of still staying on this pay-per-view model, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I am hopeful though. Like you said, multi-year deal. It to me it wouldn't necessarily make sense to try and do that again when you have a behemoth like Paramount Plus in the picture. And they gave them, what was it, like $7.7 billion to get the
Yeah.
UFC rights. Like,
7 years as well, so
yeah,
it makes no sense to, yeah.
right. So I'm at least hopeful that maybe in a year or two they will snatch it up and everyone, across the board will have easy access to see the sport that they love and at a good price too, because if you're only paying $50 for a flat blanket fee for everything, I'm watching a ton of old. I watched Liddell and Tito Ortiz the other day, and I thought of you. And Ortiz got smacked, but just a ton of old fights, which is awesome to just randomly throw on, as well as all the new pay-per-views you have embedded on there. Like it actually is a really cool experience. So I hope everybody gets that experience here pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, be watching those old school fights when I first got into the UFC would be pretty nostalgic at this
Yeah.
point. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you again, Damian. Great time talking to you as always. Are we going to be on your channel for the next week's pay-per-view? I guess we got to talk about that after we get off. But great to see you, man. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Yep, no, always a good time. Obviously, we'll talk off air about scheduling. We've both got a lot going on in the private world as well at the moment, but we get together and do these as often as we can. We both enjoy it, and we hope all the viewers enjoy this one as well. So we'll be back very, very soon, regardless. And always a good time, Zach. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. See you, everybody.